evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, Motor City Madmouth. Boys are working real good. Didn't have as long a hockey show as I thought we would, so I'll just save the extra voice for the Sports Exchange and my fearsome foursome dynamite crew for this particular show. And we have Candy. Welcome back, Candace.
Thank you, Mr. Scott, Motor City Madmouth.
You know it, George
Glad
Eichhorn.
to be here.
Hi, everyone. Good to be back on.
Yeah, second part of our doubleheader, and JB, Mr. Ellis. Welcome
What's
to the
going
show.
on, people? How we doing?
Well, we're talking sports, what we're going to talk about. All right, opening week is finally here. Will the Chiefs repeat? I don't know. We all have opinions on that. But the reigning Super Bowl champs in the Super Bowl era are 38-18-1. Kansas City Chiefs host the Baltimore Ravens Thursday night. Will Kansas City repeat, Candy?
I think they have I hate to say this. I think they have a good shot at it. I really do. I mean, they have a strong team, good fundamentals, good coach, good quarterback. But there's a reason why we play this season, right? So you just never know.
Walter Mitchell sums it up. Football league. Boy, you couldn't have nailed that one any better, Mr. Mitchell. Very good. George Eichhorn. What do you think they'll repeat?
I don't think so. This 3 times in a row has never happened, as far as I know, in NFL Super Bowl era. It is a very, very tall task to expect a team to do this 3 years in a row. That being said, they still have a shot at it. Of course, I'd be foolish not to say so. But I really think that I don't think America is ready for another Taylor Swift. Kelsey, I mean, come on. This thing has been beaten to death last year, pardon the expression. And I don't know if I'm ready for that. But, I mean, they obviously have the talent. But I'm going with the Ravens this time. I just have a feeling that the Ravens are out to get it this year.
All right, we'll go to Walter Mitchell. I just want to see my Lions in the Super Bowl. My health can only hold off so long. You know what, Walter? You're not the only one from Motown thinking that way, but I think a lot of us on this panel probably will agree with you. All right, Joe, what do you think? Is there a three-peat in sight for the Chiefs?
George made a very good point with the Ravens. The Ravens went out and got Henry, who is one of the premier running backs in the NFL. He's never played on a team that has been this good. It's going to change the dynamic of that team's, offense, because now Lamar has a quality running back to go along with, the rest of the offense. Andrews is a top-notch tight end. They have some good receivers. Their defense is spectacular. So it's not going to be as easy as it said. And George, you're right. It's never happened before. It happened once when there was a 3-time champion in a row with the Packers, but they were only Super Bowl champions 1 or 2 times. I forget. Thanks to the NFL for mailing out the week 1 notes. So I actually read them this week. They're full of a lot of good information. I love what they do. They make us know a lot of stuff. But if they're going to beat the Chiefs, you got to start Thursday. You can't give them home field advantage. You got to make the game be played in Baltimore. You got to hope that everyone stays healthy. I'm concerned with Baltimore for one reason, and I said this on my show last night. They had issues with knee injuries for their running backs and over the last couple of years. So I'm wondering if it's possible it's the turf in their home stadium, because the running backs got hurt at home.
Interesting.
I want to see Henry get through the year healthy. Obviously, Lamar has to be healthy. Andrews has to play a majority of the games. He hasn't played a full season. And their defense just has to do what they do. And I think that they could be the team to do it. Buffalo should have added a running back years ago, and they would have been fine. Another team not to discount is the Miami Dolphins. I think they're going to win the East. Everyone's hyping the Jets because they are Aaron Rodgers. I don't get it. I don't think he's, done anything over his lifespan to show that he's the guy that's going to get something done. He's won 1 Super Bowl. He's got a lot of talent, but when it came down to it, he's won 1 Super Bowl. Eli Manning has 2, and I would say that Aaron Rodgers on paper is supposed to be better. So I don't know. I could see the Dolphins doing it, and don't count on the 49ers. They have an all-star team.
Yeah, well, there you go. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate you saying that last piece. Number one, there's no way the Dolphins are going to do it. They can't win in December and January. When those little fishies go north, what happens? They end up freezing, and when you end up freezing, it's called ice fishing. And fishies don't handle things well when they're ice fishing. But as far as the Chiefs are concerned, you know what? Let me just go out there and be the lone panelist that says that they will be the first team to three-peat. And no, George, I'm not going to play that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. It don't matter. You know how much publicity that they had for the league. I get it. They've had the sideshow there and they're making money off of it. So I'll be the only one on this panel that says, all right, I'll give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt that they could win the Super Bowl. But you know what? Walter Mitchell, if the Lions get the Chiefs, it could be a pretty interesting contest. But the Lions need to finally get there because they're the only NFC team that has not been to the Super Bowl yet. But, I'll tell you, if I had to go with a team that would win it, I would go with the San Francisco 49ers. I like the 49ers. I really, really do. So, but again, I'm not ruling out Chiefs, but the San Francisco 49ers, beware. Speaking, all right, Candy, you have something you want to add to that?
I was just going to say, for all those Swiftie fans and people that don't like Swifties, the one thing that she has done is she has brought interest with a lot of the young crowd. And she's brought a lot of those young crowds are going to the games with their dad. Like, that's one of the things I cherish is some of the memories I've had of some of the sporting events that me and my dad went to. So kudos to her for bringing the young fans into watching the game with their fathers. That's
well,
all.
let me give you a Taylor Swift story that wasn't so fun when it happened. I'm covering the Detroit Red Wings out in Tampa, and I had to stay on the other side of Tampa near USF because Taylor Swift were playing over at Raymond James, and my normal hotel was booked, and they're trying to charge $200 or $300. I'm not paying that kind of money. So I stayed near USF, and I was all right for a few days. But hey, she put on a show, and I wasn't staying at my hotel. Like, why am I getting charged this amount of money right near the stadium? Well, I'll give you two words: Taylor Swift. But you know what?
There you go.
She did nothing but good, and I thought that this whole thing would last 2 or 3 weeks last year. But you know what? It went all year. And maybe they do have something going, and I'm the last guy who's going to go out there and talk about personal advice. I'm not. I mean, I'm not. Who do they call that relationship person? Is it Dr. Phil? Is that the one that talks about relation? I'm not no Dr. Phil. I need doctors. I don't need to talk about Dr. Phil. I mean, seriously. All right, so let's go ahead and transfer over to a place that Eichhorn and I are all too familiar with. And this situation, he doesn't have to worry about bringing up a Detroit topic because I'm the one doing it. So I can't get on his case this time. But Matthew Stafford returns to Detroit as the Rams face the Lions and Jared Goff. It's safe to say Kelly and the kids won't be coming. I guess last year's playoff situation made her uncomfortable. So Kel's staying back in L.A. So, George, I might as well let you start off on this one here. What kind of a game do you expect on Sunday night? Are you going to that game?
Yeah, I'll be covering that game for us, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be unbelievable. I mean, even Coach Dan Campbell is talking about the fans, and everybody's pushing the fans. Hutchinson's talking about the fans and how loud it's going to be. They hope to crack the decibel record that they supposedly set last year when they beat the Rams at home in the playoffs. It's a tough assignment. I mean, I would not want to be in Stafford's shoes. He does have the experience of going through it, of course, last January in the playoffs. But I really think that his wife was wise in not going and leaving the girls. Not bringing the girls in. All this being said, the game itself is what's important. And what's important here is the fact that Detroit wants to get off to a great start. You know, you talk about training camp and you talk about the preseason and, all the stars are rested. All the teams don't want to play their stars. But now we play for real. We play for real. And we're going to see if there are some new wrinkles to Detroit's offensive scheme and defensive scheme, too. I mean, Campbell is not a coach that's just going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to put out this from last year and do this the same and all that. No. If you heard any of his comments, and I know you guys have been very good at posting, his transcripts from on your website from the Lions pressers, and Campbell is one thing, boy. He's creative, and so are the offensive and defense coordinators. So it's going to be a really good game, but I don't see any way that Stafford and the Rams are going to win that game. I'm going to say the Lions are going to win by about 10 points.
When I was actually covering the NFL draft down here, not over at the Dolphins headquarters, but the fan event, a lot of the fans were hoping that they would hire Dan Campbell, but apparently they thought a lot of his shtick was considered hype. Well, let me tell you, can you consider how many coaches they've been through? Maybe hiring Campbell was mind you, was 5 wins and 7 losses in an interim role here. Would have been a good coach of the Dolphins. So they haven't hit on many of their coaches, but Dan would have been good. So let's go ahead and talk Walter Mitchell. We might as well call him the 5th host here. Kelly is a media hound. She expected that CS, whatever that stands for. Okay, Andy, you want to look these up? Okay, and then crowd in that state to be welcome. Yeah, they are. Detroit fans are just great. Okay, Joe.
Listen, what in the actual F? Seriously, what in the actual F? She's a player's wife, and we're talking about his daughters. Leave them the heck alone. You want to you want to yell at, Stafford all day? Go ahead. You want to call him anything as long as it's not racist, sexist, or misogynist? Go ahead. I don't care. Don't bother the man's wife. Don't bother his kids. That's not anything that should be acceptable. And the fact that she's not going, I don't care. Stay home. Right. If you don't want to go, don't go. But I expect more from fans. And I know the fans in Detroit are much better than that.
Right.
Than the small group that actually would or did whatever. So, but Kelly, if that's her name, stay home. Yeah. Who cares? The only one that really cares is probably Matthew. So stay home. Your kid's got to go to school anyway. There's no reason for you to be on the road.
Is it preschool for those kids? I don't even know. Candy?
How old are they?
I don't know.
I think a couple of them are probably in preschool by now. Yeah, I know they had twins. They've got 4 girls. So I would probably think 3 out of those girls are probably in school.
Whatever age they are, and let's face it, I mean, players can homeschool, they can do all kinds of things. But to attack his wife or kids is uncalled for, unconscionable, and doesn't have a place at all in today's day and age. Now, as far as I'm just trying to quick see if I can find it doesn't tell me the kids. Let's see. They have 4 daughters. But it doesn't say when. They were married in 2015. So but he brings an excitement obviously to play back in Detroit because he played there for so many years. But he didn't have the success that everybody wanted him to have in Detroit. So last year they played each other. It was a 1-point game in January. So it was a close game. It's exciting to see them have some of these kind of matchups in week 1, like the Jags and the Dolphins. That's an in-state kind of rivalry, so to speak. So to have some of those kind of exciting games for week 1 to bring, everybody's excited. It's football eve. Anybody that likes NFL, it should be a good game. And kudos. And like JB, I totally agree with you. If you want to say what you want to say about Matthew Stafford, go right ahead, as long as within reason. But leave his family out of it. And whether she goes to his game or not is none of our business, honestly, and it really doesn't matter. So you can say that she's not going, and then she all of a sudden appears because she doesn't want the media to know she's going. That's fine too. I'm okay with that. They get so many tickets, they can decide who they want to give the tickets to. Whether they homeschool that or not, let them do whatever they want. But I think it's exciting because, let's face it, there was a lot of love for Stafford in Detroit, but yet they were also but he couldn't get them to where they wanted him to go. And maybe that's not fair because maybe it was a lot of it had to do with the coaching, but He had success where he went, and Lions are having success without him as well. So they're both better off, probably.
All right, all I'll say about it is Matthew Stafford, 12 years, over 40,000 yards, did get the Lions to playoffs, just couldn't win there. So, like, and again, he inherited a team which is a winless team, mind you, okay? And that was a complete mess, is what it was. Remember, Jim Caldwell did a pretty good job with him. I think one of the biggest mistakes is when they did let Caldwell go. We all know where the franchise proceeded to go there. As far as his wife is concerned, well, you know, you didn't like the way you were treated, then maybe you made the best decision you could, stand in all that. It's not about Kelly anyways. It's going to be about Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. Jared Goff will be the guy who's a trivia question as to who the quarterback that won those 2 playoff games after you bring in Eric Kramer. Okay, because you have a lot of quarterbacks that played in the Honolulu blue and silver. But nevertheless, NBC has a marquee matchup with the Lions and the Rams. The Lions winning in the playoffs, the Rams winning before when they face each other in LA. So, you know, I mean, it's going to be interesting, and why not have it on Sunday night? Why not? It'll be good for Candy and I, too, because should we cover the Marlins game, at least we get it at night. We don't have to worry about it during the day. You want to add something, Candy?
So an update, just because we were all asking, that Matthew and his wife share 7-year-old twins, a 5-year-old, and a 4-year-old.
Okay. There you go. Let's go to Walter Mitchell, active in the chat room. I want to make sure all of Walter's stuff gets up. That's true. You read them, Candy. My voice can only handle
That's
so
true,
much.
but I don't think the crowd went after the kids. Kelly said some things in the media. In my opinion, the Staffords thought that the crowd was going to give him a hero's welcome.
Okay.
Well, and at one point they did. If you remember, the front office wasn't good up here, and to be honest, that trade set Detroit up. Look at all the moves that stem from that trade. Hey, we all have talked about that trade was good for both sides. So,
right. Yeah, Walter, you nailed a bullseye with those chats. Good stuff. So we'll keep you faster you get them up, the quicker we'll read them. So all in all, I think it should be a pretty entertaining football game. You know, 1-1 between Stafford and Goff. We'll see who ends up getting the upper hand on Sunday Night Football. So right now we're going to have time for a station break. Candy, go ahead.
The South Florida Tribune published a book last November. It is called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It was written by Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth, and the foreword is written by George Eichhorn. It is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Apple, and Google Books. You can also find a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where all 3 of the guys on here write. I've taken pictures. That's all up there. We also have a link to our apparel store, which has all kinds of South Florida Tribune merchandise. Go check it out. If you see the red subscribe button by George, like us, share us, click it, subscribe so you can get notifications of all of our great programming. Monday nights, we normally have Fire Up Florida, which just talks about hockey. And then we followed by 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. Tuesday night is Inside the Pigskin for all your football related updates. Wednesday night, Sports Exchange. You never know what you're going to find on this show. We talk about all kinds of different things, like you'll see later in this tonight's show. And then Thursday night is Fire Up, where, again, you never know what you will see. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott, 954-304-4941. If I talk too fast, it's been scrolling around the bottom. And if you're listening on the podcast, rewind and listen to it again. Okay, Scott.
Folks, for those of you who haven't watched Fire, you got to watch it. Candy's the one she goes out there and hosts a show, and I've never seen a person do an incredible job the way she does. She puts her own set of passion and energy into that show like I've never seen anybody. So it comes on Thursday night, usually around 9:15 Eastern time. So this is Candy's baby. I let her go out there to do what she's got to do with Ralph Williams and Jeremy Ballrick. All right, onward we go. I can't get away from these things, and I'm not going to do it now. So here we go, folks. The topic you've been waiting for, the update. Joey Chestnut. Oh, remember him? Devours 83 hot dogs to beat Takeru Kobayashi in head-to-head eating contest. The final was 83-67. The live showdown was called Unfinished Beef. Oh, my goodness, yes. We're bringing hot dogs back on it in the 4th of July. We just got past Labor Day. And since Joe looks so interested in the subject, he gets to talk about it first.
Listen, it's an unofficial record. It didn't happen in the heat of July 4th on a stage in Coney Island. Joey Chestnut's a fraud. His 83 hot dogs, he can line them up and eat them for all I care. Kobayashi, you're a nobody. You're out of the thing for so long, you couldn't compete. Why don't we talk about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul? You know, we're going to talk about irrelevant people. Joey Chestnut and his 83 hot dogs.
Well,
The
guess
Mets,
what?
the Chicago White Sox couldn't sell 83 hot dogs in one game with all their fans there. So Joey Chestnut can out eat all of whatever their horrible park is called.
Guess what, Joe?
What?
You have parting shots later. You can say whatever you want. You want to talk about White Sox? Do it. You want to talk about Mike Tyson, Jake Paul? Do it. I don't have it. You can have it. How's that sound, Joe? You can talk about them. Okay, we'll talk about what we want, but if you don't like about Joey Chestnut, I have an obligation, okay, as a journalist, okay? I started this mess in July 4th about the chestnut-less hot dog eating contest, and I have a feeling that I have to follow up on the story after Labor Day. But you know what? Here's what I'm going to do,
More important
Joe.
question, though. Were they Impasa dogs or were they real hot dogs?
I don't know. All I'm doing is reporting the fact. But you know what, Joe? I'm going to be a really nice executive producer tonight. Instead of limiting it to one parting shot, I'm giving you two. I'm giving you Paul, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the White Sox if you really want to talk about them, because they're going to shatter the Mets record anyways. It doesn't matter. I can't believe I'm saying that. All right.
They're winning tonight.
What's that?
They're winning tonight.
Oh, they really? Well, okay. Yeah. Every squirrel finds a blind acorn once in a while. We'll see what they got left when it comes time to later on now this month. All right, Candy. Since J.B. Ellis had as much interest in that, well, he had enough interest in it to bring up the other thing. We're trying to get a little bit out of him. Hey, you know what? If I can get Coach John Bonamago to rant and hammer Florida State, I know I can drag something out of Mr. Ellis. I know I can. I've worked magic. I know there's some people I can't, but I know I can work with him. And Coach Bono is unbelievable. All right, Candy, take it away.
Joey and Takura renewed the most competitive rivalry in competitive eating on Monday in Netflix Unfinished Beef special, where Chestnut winning 83-66. Chestnut's 83 hot dogs broke the world record for most eaten in 10 minutes without dunking them in water in the history of competitive eating. He won $100,000 in prize money. He's been trying to hit 80 dogs for years. Let's face it, the two of them used to have such a competitive rivalry, but because one got banned and then the other got banned and what? Really? 83 hot, I don't know that I've had 83 hot dogs in my life. I'm not sure, maybe in my life, but 83 hot dogs in 10 minutes. I cannot even begin to imagine what his stomach was feeling or how he feels after eating that much. I just can't.
Okay, George.
He's got a stomach that's just cast iron, as the old joke goes. My goodness gracious. To be able to down that many of those slippery dogs. Holy cow. I mean, I might have one, possibly two on a rare occasion, but that's about the limit for me. Now, put a little Coney Island together like Detroit's famous for, with those onions and that mustard and that chili sauce. And now I can have a couple of those at a sitting during lunch or dinner, but no way can I top that fella. Joey Chestnut, hats off to you, fella. You deserve the accolades you're getting. And is it a sporting event, like JB says? Heck no, it's not, but it makes interesting discussion for shows such as ours. But yeah, I mean, it's just off the wall kind of stuff. But I salute the guy for setting the record.
I'm all about off the wall stuff.
Yeah,
seriously, I am. But you know what? As much as I have no Wisconsin blood inside of me, because I really don't, I'm a Metro Detroiter through and through between, and a Florida resident. There is nothing better than a bratwurst in Wisconsin. I'm telling you, forget the stupid hot dog. Give me a bratwurst. I don't even know how many I could eat. Candy, by the way, are the bratwursts on the grocery list this week when you get there, or when are you going to get these things? I don't want to eat hot dogs. I want a bratwurst. Those things are really good. In fact, when we were recently up in Milwaukee, Okay, I didn't know what they had there for the main course. I was going after the bratwurst, and I had like 3 or 4 or 5. They were good. I forget the other meal. Okay, give me the mustard, the barbecue sauce, and the cheddar cheese on a bratwurst, and what do I have? A good meal. So yeah, more power to Joey. Okay, but bratwursts are where it at. I don't care about the hot dogs. If I don't have a bratwurst, then I have to get them. But that's not my. But go get them, Joey. Eat as many as you want. Maybe you can make 100 next time. But stay away from me because I don't know where you're going to be at anyhow. Well, I'm in favor of the bratwurst, but boy, those Coney Islands are good. And let alone Joe Shinova of Coney Islands because he's from New York, anyways, right? Because they have that place called Coney Island, right? Good stuff. Okay, that's what we talked about on Sports Exchange. Good stuff. All right, we're going to go from 83 hot dogs to a big whopping contract, and that guy who earned it is Steph Curry, who's agreed to a 1-year, $62.6 million extension that will keep him under contract to the 26-27 season. If that isn't mind-boggling, then I don't know what is, Candy. You tell me. And once upon a time, George and I are probably the only ones. I don't know about you, JB. When the NBA was on tape delay, my goodness, how far we have come from tape delay with $62.6 million for 1 year for Steph Curry. All right, Candy, go for it.
It sets Steph up for NBA ownership, which is definitely on, he said, which is definitely on the table for him. So kudos to him. Let's face it. Any player that plays a game deserves to get paid. Hey, let's face it. For him, it's a job. You know, I want to get paid the most I can for the job that I do at work. He wants to get paid the most that he can. Kudos to him. Now, do I think the salaries of all these players, NFL, NBA, MLB, is ridiculous? Yes. But can I imagine making 1/100th of this? No. But kudos to him for, like I said, get as much money as you can while you can, because he'll set himself up and his kids up for life. And if someone's willing to pay him that, go for it. Like, I'm not going to begrudge him. You know, I mean, I wish I could set myself up like that.
Well, I'd like to know who his agent is, if he even has one. The only thing I know about Steph Curry is he's going to go out there and get a statue outside the Chase Center. All right, Joe, you can buy an awful lot of hot dogs for $62.6 million.
So, I mean, if anybody in the NBA deserves that kind of money, it's Steph. There's no question Steph deserves it. It's the max he can get, and he's been the leader of that team. He's taken them to the heights where they needed to go. They won championships. They won the most games. He's been the leader. You know, he stayed with the franchise. He's basically at the moment Mr. Golden State. You know, so there's no reason he shouldn't get the max amount he should get. But NBA salaries are utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
For, you know, a league where they have rest when they don't play every day, and it's not as physical as a game as hockey and or football. The fact that they you know, take days off in between because, you know, we got to get through the season and the playoffs, it's a joke. But yeah. I'm not saying Steph does that, but, you know, he deserves every penny he gets. I'm glad for him.
And the two words you were looking for, Mr. Ellis, are load management, but at least
I don't use those.
One of those.
I don't use those words because that's a crock of something we won't talk about.
Oh, that's okay. No, look at the passion that's coming out of this guy tonight. I swear. All right. Well, we won't, but load management, I still like to laugh at him anyway. And I'll tell you what, in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to be I'll have a couple of nuggets here about old players that have commented on the new NBA. I didn't want to get to it tonight. All I wanted to do is talk about Steph. All right, George, your last one to talk about this one. I think it's absurd. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, Steph Curry, I agree with Joe Ellis. If anybody deserves this, he does. 18th NBA season, all with the same team. That's unheard of. And to me, that shows some bit of loyalty in a big, big way. I mean, he's won championships. He's kind of like the media darling. He's probably everything that the LeBron haters out there don't want to see. But I mean, this kid has just been he's been on fire. His career has been fantastic. He's now guaranteed $178 million over the next 3 years of his Warriors contract. And it says that he'll become the third NBA player, along with LeBron and Kevin Durant, to pass $500 million. Imagine that in career earnings. The third one. And, say what you want. I mean, not everybody likes everybody, but I mean, this guy's been smooth as silk as a shooter. He bangs home the 3-pointers. I mean, he's been great for the NBA. He really has. So whether you like him or not, I think that he's been an asset for the league. I'd put him right up there as far as being a positive, if you will, role model. And I know that's coming from a league that, obviously could use that. But I mean, Scott, it is outrageous. I mean, this 62.6 million extension. But like I said, if anybody deserves it, it's him. I've admired him, and he's been a good player.
All right, so let me ask anybody on this crew. Do you know where he went to college?
Davidson.
There you go. All right, forget
there
it.
You
that
go.
was easy.
Yep.
Too easy. Yeah, Davidson out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, and you know what? That was too easy, Joe. Maybe if fate has its way, maybe he'll be the future owner of the new Seattle Supersonics when they do ultimately return. Now that would be nice to see him be a part of that franchise. All right, just wishful thinking. It's time to bring the Supersonics back now that Vegas, whether they get a team or not, it's inevitable. So I'll get into it. Expansion another time, but bring back the Seattle Supersonics, people. All right, let's go back to the Olympics a little bit with everything going on in sports. We haven't had a chance to talk about some of the Olympic accomplishments over the next week or two. We're going to be bringing on a few more. But the two I've come up with tonight is Simone Biles finished the 2024 Olympics with 3 golds and a silver. Joe, what are your thoughts about Simone Biles? What an unbelievable young lady she is.
Pause is power. I'm going to pause my discussion on Simone Biles tonight for my mental well-being.
Okay.
Maybe Powerade will pay me because I'm using their TV slogan.
Okay. Well,
fine. But she's a tremendous athlete. Congratulations to her.
Fair enough. All right, George.
Well, she has had an interesting run the last 4 to 8 years, but I'll tell you what, it's hard to say that there's been a better gymnast than her. It has been incredible, and she did have a very good Paris Olympics, no question about it. The United States had a very good Olympics, but I can certainly understand some people not being as high on her. I mean, she did have the breakdown, as we know, at the last Olympic Games, and made a lot of noise about that. And her career, some people thought was going to be over, but then she had risen back to the heights that she needed to compete, and obviously to make the U.S. Olympic gymnastics squad. Hats off to her. I some things about her might rub some people the wrong way, but she's a tremendous athlete, no question about it. And we're talking about a sport, obviously, that has had a tough go with. We won't talk about these crazy things that happen in gymnastics, but Simone rose to the top, and I give her credit. But she's surrounded by good teammates too, though. Good coaches and good teammates help her be an Olympic champion. Don't kid yourself.
Okay, Candy.
Tremendous athlete. Someone that was in tune to herself. And yes, she came forward and with mental issues and said that she needed to work on her mental health. Whether you believe that or not, whether you believe her or not, I give her a lot of credit, because if you're not in the right state of mind, it can play tricks on you. Right. And to compete at such a level, doing some of the maneuvers that she does, if you're not right with everything and in tune, you could do some real bodily harm to yourself. So I give her a lot of credit. She's not the youngest. Let's face it. Gymnastics is a sport for very young athletes. You hear about them real young, and she's competed for how many years? So kudos to her for staying at the top of her game as long as she did. And I'm going to say this, like we talk about mental health. And I wasn't going to go there with this, but I'm gonna. I mean, look at, and I hate to bring this up. Today we lost 4 people in a Georgia high school because you can't tell me a 14-year-old doesn't have some kind of mental illness to take a gun to school and to shoot and kill 4 people. And there's others injured. And I know that Simone was nowhere near that. But to bring a heightened awareness, this country has a huge problem with mental illness and mental health.
Yeah.
And we need to get it fixed.
Okay. The only thing I'll say about it is this. I'm glad that she rebounded to get the hardware. I really am. Took a heck of a person to do it. It really did. So more power to her. A responsibility to mention these things because I'm glad that, some people can't do that. She was able to do it. So, but you know what? I'm not done with gymnastics yet, but I'll make it easier for you guys. Carlos Yulu makes history winning gold for the Philippines for the first time ever in gymnastics. The Philippines winning gold. My goodness. The only thing I ever remember about the Philippines, and, this may sound crazy, many years ago, and I said many years ago when I was single and I was on those dating sites, I had a lot of Filipinos that wanted to come over here. And I said, no. I know why you want to come over here. But it's a third world country. And how often can you talk about a third world country winning their first time ever in gymnastics? The Philippines. Kudos to the Philippines. All right, Candy. Carlos Yulu is a team that, with all due respect, at least they'll know about him in the Philippines. What do you think, Can?
I think it's awesome to see that someone from a country that has never won win and be at the top of their game for such an event. So kudos to them. You hear sometimes of the same powerhouses year in, year out in some of these events. So sometimes it's nice to hear of someone from someplace different win.
That's why I brought the topic in, because it's a change of pace. And yes, Walter Mitchell Manny Pacquiao is from the Philippines, a heck of a boxer too, by the way. George?
I think it's great. I applaud him. I think that's great for the country of the Philippines. I really, really do. They have great people. I see quite a few of them here in the area where I live and at my church. And these people are the warmest and friendliest, and they really, really are good-hearted people. So for a country like that normally doesn't perform well or rise to that kind of level, if you will, at the Olympics, it makes it even more special. I mean, the Philippines has been a long time friend of the United States, but I mean, as far as athletics go, not so much. I mean, you don't even hear about them really doing a whole lot in soccer. I mean, I don't cover soccer at all full time, but it's one of those countries that really you don't hear too much about athletes. But good for him, Carlos. Hats off to you, and glad that you were able to bring home the medals, because I think they only got 4 total medals in Paris, and 2 of them were his. So it is a great story for that country.
Well, I've never met a bad Filipino yet. So, Joe?
I agree.
Listen, I mean, any athlete that goes to the Olympics and any country that they represent work extremely hard and put in countless hours, whether you like them or their country or whoever they are, you have to respect them and give them credit and congratulate them, because, to be the best in the world at anything and going out there and in the moment that matters, competing and putting your best out there and being judged to be the best, that's got to be a great feeling. And congratulations to him. And, hopefully he gets to enjoy the whole experience, and, he'll have a memory that he can cherish the rest of his life, and a nice little medal too.
And by the way, my favorite gymnast of all time was Mary Lou Retton. And by the way, I was at the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles. And I'll never forget my late cousin Terry Kroll, like a brother to me. And we went to Santo Pietro's. I can actually remember that, out of Westwood Village. And I'll tell you what, that restaurant was going nuts. So Mary Lou Retton's my all-time favorite. But yeah, more power to Carlos Yulu, let alone in a third world country. So, all right. We go from Carlos to Kobe. You ever heard of Kobe Bryant? Guess what? His Staples Center locker sold for $2.88 million. All right, Joe, what do you think about Kobe's locker? Would you spend that kind of cabbage to get it?
Listen, if you got money to burn, I got a bridge to sell you. And, George Washington crossed it. Abe Lincoln crossed it. Every Major League Baseball player ever that's played the game has crossed it. It's only $7 million. Make sure you send it to my Cash App or my Venmo tonight, and I'll deliver it by tomorrow. They've all crossed it.
Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Can't wait to go back and cover the Big East tournament later on next year. I know you had a heck of a time doing it. All right, well, George, you and I like the memorabilia game, but boy, $2.88 million, an awful lot of cabbage here for a Staples Center locker. I don't even think it's called that anymore.
Oh gosh, yeah, that is a lot of cash. Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's a little bit above my pay grade, but if somebody has that much money, well, no, I shouldn't say it that way. If somebody has that much money, think about how they could help other people in the world as opposed to investing it in a locker. But we all know that falls on deaf ears because multimillionaire, billionaire guys and gals will get whatever they want or spend on it what they want. I just wouldn't come near anything like that. Now, if it was a Babe Ruth bat, maybe, or uniform that, Babe wore or Roberto Clemente. No, but I know it's not. But I'm just saying that, yeah, there's a certain level that is just way out of sight for me for memorabilia. That's way high.
What about you, Candy?
So, according to Sotheby's, it's the most valuable sports locker to ever sell at auction. It's also the third most expensive piece of Bryant memorabilia of all time, trailing just a game-used autographed and photo-matched jersey from Bryant's rookie season, which sold for $3.69 million in 2021, and a signed game-used and photo-matched Bryant jersey from his lone MVP season in 2007 and 8, which sold for $5.6 million, the second most valuable basketball jersey ever sold. The locker was bidding at $750,000, but over the final 20 minutes of the auction, 4 bidders pushed the sale to just under $3 million. It's a profound relic from one of basketball's most iconic figures. Today's price highlights not only Kobe's enduring legacy, but also the exceptional nature of this unique item. During the Staples Center 2018 renovations, an unnamed maintenance worker saved Bryant's locker from demolition, sold it to a private collector who reunited the locker with Bryant's nameplate. Sotheby's notes that the portion of the sale proceeds will directly benefit the Los Angeles Lakers Youth Foundation, did not elaborate as to how much. So kudos that some of that money is going to go actually to a youth foundation and that it's not just going to sit in somebody's pocket, because honestly, that's what Kobe would want. He was an iconic basketball player. He was a great basketball player, but he was a good person. And so kudos that somebody had the money to do that, and that part of it's going to a youth foundation.
Hey, if I get my hands on that locker, I'd get my hands on that locker all day long. I like lockers. Remember, we could hang up, although we don't use jackets very much in Florida, but I could find 4 or 5 of my top jackets, put it in that locker if I had place big enough. Instead, though, George and I don't mind having a piece of the palace floor in our house, and then we can put it on our wall. But no, hey, you know what? When I saw this story, give me Kobe's locker, I'll take it all day long if I had the right place to put it. But I'm glad it fetched that kind of money. It's pretty neat stuff. And I'll tell you right now, everybody talks about Mount Rushmore's top 10, 15. I put Kobe in mine all day long. I've never seen a guy play as hard as he does, who's more boisterous, a leader, and plays defense and offense. So more power to Kobe. Rest in peace, Kobe. And that's why I want to bring up your locker tonight so everybody could go out there and hear that it was worth something and there's a little bit of value to it. So with that said, we're going to go to parting shots, okay? So you know what, Joe, since I'm giving you two of them, I'm going to let you lead off because, Joe, you are going to get two because I have to understand, okay, that, you're not crazy about the hot dog eating contest. I have a feeling you're not crazy about Simone Biles. I don't think you probably care about Carlos Yulu, so you get your own two topics that you're probably crazy about. If you don't like them, that's your fault. But you got two, Joe.
Can someone get a one-way ticket from Wrigley back to Milwaukee for Council? You get your team in the playoff race. You play the Pirates who just swept. You blow game one because of your bullpen, which I believe has 20-something blown saves this year. Game two, you don't show up. Game three, you have your ace pitching, a no-hitter after 7 innings and 95 pitches. Oh, that's enough. Let's baby the arm because it's September. Let the man pitch. How many games has your bullpen blown? He's pitching a no-hitter. Why is he not out there? Craig, Milwaukee's North. Start going. You stink. I'm done.
Now you got one more.
No, go around. I'll come back to me.
Oh, no. We got to go chronological order now. You got one more. Remember, I'm a very organized executive producer. You got one more. I like body language. Of course, it's hard to see yours because you're back there and you're not close to the camera. And you're talking about a guy whose eyes are going to the toilet anyways. But that's okay. Sit wherever you want. You got one more.
One more.
Or you have two. I don't care. You're a big part of the show.
All right. So we got the NFL season starting tomorrow. Why do we have a game in Brazil? Why are we sending teams like 1,800 miles to play a regular season game in a city that's not very safe? Like, what's the point of that? How much money does the NFL need to make to send, your top teams to cities that really don't have any business having a football game right now? You can't. You're telling the players not to go out. Don't go around the town. Why not just not play the game? It's just stupid.
And by the way, they're not allowed to wear green. I'll be curious to see what kind of uniforms they're going to have. You want another one?
No, I'm
another
good.
part? Okay, you sure?
Yeah.
Is Regis Philbin in the eyes of memory of Regis Philbin? Is that your final answer? I'll give you a third party shot if you want.
No, I'm good.
What about Jake Paul, Mike Tyson? What do you know about them?
I know Mike Tyson had an ulcer and they had to postpone it.
Okay.
They'll eventually pretend to box.
Okay, no problem. So now you have 2.5. All right, I'm easy. I'm not even taxing my voice tonight. Of course, pretty hard to do it. But all right, George, I gave JB Ellis the executive treatment. Anytime he wants 2 or 3 parting shots, Joe B. Ellis, Mr. Ellis, can have them.
Yeah.
I'm easy.
Yes.
I'm in a giving mood tonight. Go ahead, George.
All right. Well, I wasn't able to be there, but hats off. And my parting shot is the Tigers did a great job of welcoming back the 1984 world champions, led by guys by the name of Whitaker and Trammell and Morris and Parrish. Sadly, Sparky Anderson is gone. All the coaches are gone except for one, Dick Tracewski, who was out there in a wheelchair. But the biggest story out of all, Scott, we covered this fella, and what a great classy guy he always was. Chet Lemon, a former Chicago White Sox, I might add. Chet Lemon has had over 15 strokes, mini strokes, for the last several years. And he was determined, and his family was determined. His wife and his daughter and his son came up, and he was in a wheelchair, and they brought him to Comerica Park. And what an ovation! And hats off to Chet Lemon. It is very sad. He has very limited mobility. His speech is just very minimal. And again, it reminds me of somebody else we covered, Vladdy Konstantinov, being wheelchair bound, and Mike Utley, guys that but I'm not going to talk about those guys. I'm just so happy that you came back, Chet, that you joined with your fellow players and saluted the 40th anniversary of the 84 champs. Great to see you again. And Tom Gage, our buddy, you did good, Tom. You know, you wrote the new book with Lance Parrish, and it was great that you were there too to be a witness to that and appear in a couple of interviews. I saw Tom was interviewed by a couple of stations. So hats off. It was all a positive thing for Detroit and the Tigers organization.
Yeah, I read about the Chet Lemon thing. It is very, very inspiring. You know, that family has really rallied around him. And of course, now his wife was determined to take him to Detroit to be a part of that. More power to him. I wish I would have met him a while back, but then I lived here in Florida, so it was hard to do. But you know what? Everything I've heard about the Lemon family, they're really, truly incredible. And I did read it, and it was really touching. All right, Candy, go ahead. You're next.
My parting shot. People need to learn respect in this world. You heard me earlier talk about the horrific events that happened at the Georgia high school today. Now, it was a 14-year-old that got that gun. They are now coming out that it was a 17-year-old teen that was charged in the attempted murder of the shooting of the 49ers Pearsall. It is also, we lost hockey player Johnny Gaudreau and his brother to a drunk driver. People, you need to learn respect. Learn respect for other people. You should not be out there. If you've had too much to drink, you should not be driving. There are plenty of other things. If you're upset with the world, a gun to other people is not the answer. Whether you're attempting to rob them or whether you want to inflict bodily, like, serious injury or kill people. And I'm going to say it starts way back with the parents. Teach your kids to respect others. I think we're lacking respect in this world. And I'm not going to keep going off on this soapbox. But I think we lack respect, and that's why a lot of these things stem from respect other people. That's it.
Oh, chat room. Walter Mitchell, Road to New Orleans starts tomorrow. Let my Lions. That's his parting shot. No problem. Okay. Walter Mitchell, because Goodell is the king of exploitation. Any money is good money. Well, interesting point. I've only got one, though. You know what that is? It's an easy one. Bill Belichick is being hired by every media company on the planet. It's cool. I love it. Even the 33rd team, where I get some of my information, hired him. But he's going everywhere. So you know what happened today? Bill Belichick is starting to get involved with social media. My goodness. He's going to be on all of them. I'll tell you, if my friend Steve Ballesteri is watching this show, he'll tell you firsthand, okay, that Bill Belichick gave you the old deal. You got to wait for the next week, blah, blah, blah. Guess what, Bill? Now you have a chance to talk to all the fans. And you know what? You know what I like about Bill Belichick? I hope you actually like the media and everything you're getting in, and you don't want to go into coaching back. You know why? That way Don Shula remains the all-time winningest head coach. And Don Shula has meant a lot to me over the years of my developmental years. He taught me a lot. So, Bill, I hope you really do enjoy the media. Stay there. Have fun on social media. Do it. Really, it's good stuff. Don Shula remain the all-time winningest head coach. And for all my Dolphin followers, Don Shula is the greatest head coach of all time. But even though Bill has a little bit more hardware, Don still has the only team that's undefeated because, you know, Bill Belichick just came up one great catch away from seeing that happen. So, Bill, enjoy the media. And hello, Don Shula. Let's keep that streak going. Go ahead, Katie.
So I have to give kudos to the Chicago Cubs. They just threw a combined no-hitter the first time in 52 years.
Okay,
Garbage.
but you stole, yeah, it's garbage. I agree. I don't like combined no-hitters. So, Katie, do me a favor. Okay.
Yes.
Repeat after me. Okay. Don Shula should remain the all-time winningest head coach. Go ahead, Candy.
Why?
Because I said so.
Don Shula should be the winningest coach?
All-time winningest coach.
All time.
Don't forget all those words now. Don Shula should remain the all-time winningest coach because Bill Belichick likes the media don't want to go back. Can you say that?
What if there's another coach that's going to surpass him?
Well, it may happen when I'm over.
Scott said no.
It may happen when I'm in Wisconsin Memorial Park. That's all I'm going to say. I don't see it happening for a while. But repeat after me. No, I won't do that to you.
But you say that. But I would argue that more NFL coaches are younger and start their career way younger than they did back in the day. So it could happen.
Yeah, not in my lifetime, Candy. Not.
Okay.
It'll happen in my lifetime when, that time comes that the complete game becomes a normal part of baseball again. And I don't see that happening for a while because I'm on the J.B. Ellis bandwagon. These combined no-hitters are no good. Okay, you can't do that. They're garbage. They're garbage. And yes, my voice is doing very nice because I haven't had to kill it too bad. Just that even keeled approach that I might last another show. So Bill Belichick, I'll say it one last time, brother. Enjoy the media. I love you, Don Shula. Stay the all-time winningest coach. Good stuff. Great show. With that said, Katie, take us home, and we hope everybody's enjoyed this edition of the Sports Exchange, where you heard everything from Carlos Yulu to Bill Belichick to Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, you name it. We didn't miss a name that is interesting. And, the rest. Steph Curry. Joey Chestnut. How about that?
Chuck Lemon.
Yeah, him too. All right, Candy, take us home.
Last December, the South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning in the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by Scott, the Motor City Mad Mouth Morganroth, and the foreword was written by George Eichhorn. It is available on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, Google, and Apple Books. Get your copy today. It talks about Scott. I mean, he loves to tell stories, let's face it. And he tells you all kinds of stories in this book, but it also teaches you how media has changed over the course of his 40 plus years. So whether you're looking for it to help you to entertain you or to teach you something, go grab that book. You can find a link also on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where all three of the gentlemen in this panel have written for us. Never know what you're going to find. George just recently wrote a Lions preview, so go check that out. He actually has a book as well that there's a link to his book. I take pictures. I don't really write. Well, I could write, but I take pictures instead, and I tell stories through my pictures. So go to our YouTube channel, go see some of the pictures I've taken, some of the videos I've taken. We recently were at the Canes Florida Gators game. I took some videos there. They're up on our YouTube. Go check them out. The YouTube is South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to us, do that now because we're going to have way more content coming down the pipe that I know you'll like. Also, always visit our website. Visit Sideline Sportsnet. Sportsnet. I always get it backwards, JB.
SidelineSportsNet.com.
There you go.
That's close enough.
Well, there too. If you like podcasts, you can get our podcast wherever you like to get your podcasts. iHeartRadio, Google, Apple, Spotify, Geo7, Castbox, Deezer, all those places. We also have a link to buy our merchandise. So you can get a South Florida Tribune hat. George has got one. Go to our link on our website and get some of our apparel there. If you'd like to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott 954-304-4941. Our Twitter or X handle is @TribuneSouth. Our email is southfloridatribune@gmail.com. I think that's pretty much it. George, how can people get a hold of you?
You can reach me at Yahoo, gicorn@yahoo.com. On X, I'm SandGSports99. And as Candy mentioned, you can find my columns in the South Florida Tribune. Oh, yeah, that little book up there she's pointing to. Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air, compilation of, 50-plus years of broadcast excellence. And yes, Scott, much younger Scott. Oh, you got to get it. That's worth the price right there. He is in there with Jimmy Connors and Muhammad Ali, some great pictures. I got Ernie Harwell interviewing Hank Aaron in there. I got Paul Carey interviewing Ted Williams. I mean, lots of great pictures and stories in that book. And you'll see a link at the end of my column under the Motor City Tribune to link to get a copy of that book. And also watch me, listen to me and Scott and our guests on 108 Stitches on Monday nights and Fire Up, as well as this great show, The Sports Exchange. Glad to be part of it.
Okay, turn over to Joe.
JB underscore the program on X, sidelinesportsnet.com. One of the best websites out there besides the South Florida Tribune website. Those are the two best websites to get any sports news or any news in general. You got Candy's pictures, you got writing from everybody else here and all the Sideline Sports people on the Sideline website. We're Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. for Eastern for Sideline Sports. Special show tomorrow. We're starting back again. J&J Sports Exchange. J&J. I don't remember the name. That's not good. It's our NFL betting show with Jeff Cadillac. It'll be tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern. J&J Sports Express. That's what it is. It's been a while since we had NFL football. So many shows. Got to remember names for everything.
That's all right. Do the best you can. Make it till you make it.
This is 60 minutes we're on right now, right?
Yeah, 61 and counting. That's okay.
Yeah.
No. I mean the name of the show.
Oh, all right. Sports Exchange. That's okay. Don't play tricks with my head because you're gonna be working on a lot of other stuff anyways. I don't want to have any more medical situations than I already am. But I take a licky and keep on talking, and I'm doing that tonight in a much lower key tone voice and top by my other guys. All right. So meanwhile, that does conclude this edition of the Sports Exchange. Okay. You come here every Wednesday night after 9 o'clock. This is the crew: Candy, George, JB, and yours truly, the mild mouth. No, can't do that because I'd have to change the merchandise. But meanwhile, we hope you enjoyed tonight's edition, and we will see you. Anything you want to add, Candy? Of course, she wants to add a few things. Go ahead. What about the girls' show?
Okay, one last thing. Tuesday night, 7:30, Chicks and Salsa. Check us out. This last week, we previewed the NFL season and our picks for each division. Go check it out.
Okay. All right, Candy, take us home.
We just did, right?
You're taking us home again.
What do you want me? I don't want to go through the whole thing all again.
No, you don't.
Have a great night. Check us out tomorrow. Fire Up is on at 9 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it.
There you go.
Happy opening season weekend, everyone.
Enjoy the NFL games. However you may watch all of them or try to watch them, as some of them will be harder to watch than others.
That's a great ending.
Have a great
Good
one.
night.
Enjoy.
Good night.
Night.